Welcome to the 2018 East Coast K9 Trials. Police officers and their canines come from all over the East Coast to compete and demonstrate their skills. We talked to a few officers about what it's like to live and work with their canines.
My name is Officer Mark Hackney. I'm a K9 handler and patrol officer for the city of Reading. In the beginning, we kind of had a hate-hate relationship. But like I said, that bond, I mean, you literally have to convince this animal that, hey, you're going to be there for him and you're going to take a bullet for him if need be. And it's so important because after he understands that, it never goes away. It never goes away, and he'll do anything for you. We're in the inner city, so there's never any downtime. So these dogs are always on alert. We use them a lot. We train with them a lot. On shift, we train with them. So these guys are constantly thinking, constantly going. When we're driving to certain calls, these guys know, hey, guess what? There's a lot of people around. Something doesn't seem right. Like I said, their instincts are a lot better than ours. So they're barking outside the cages, you know, and usually people, when they hear that, they tend to disperse, you know. But just like right now, he's trying to figure out what's going on. Here, up. So this is all the time with him. It's really nothing specific. We really haven't had a situation where I had to deploy him and send him on a human being. And pray to God, maybe, you know, we won't have to do that. But I know that he's ready.
My name's Staff Sergeant Angel Calco. I'm the Kennel Master down at Marine Corps Base Quantico. This is Officer Josiah Caldwell, along with military working dog Beowulf. So Beowulf is a patrol explosive detector dog. So he's a suspect apprehension and explosive detector. This dog is designed to for normal law enforcement use, suspect apprehension, you know, just the same general mission set that local law enforcement has. But we just utilize it for military assets aboard military installations. And then, but he can be called by the United States Secret Service to support the president, you know, local law enforcement agencies during explosive call-outs, as well as being utilized aboard the installation for visiting VIPs for, like the Commandant of the Marine Corps when he comes down, and any visiting general grade officer. So their basic training is between 90 and 120 days, which is done down at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. And then from there, we go ahead and get the dogs from them with basic certification, and then we'll continue training. So the dogs in the DoD are required to be outside their kennels for a minimum of 20 hours a week. So as the kennel master, it's my responsibility to look at the dogs I have available, to look at the personality of Beowulf and pair him with a suitable handler. So in this case, it was Officer Caldwell, you know, both very open, very outgoing, personable human and canine. So by pairing those two together, you know, they feed off of each other. And then if I have a lower drive dog, I'll usually give it a high energy individual. That way the dog can pick up on that. So anytime he's wearing this vest, the dog's working. So whenever he goes into his kennel, whenever he's hanging around the office, or in like large groups of people and the dog's not necessarily working, we're just trying to socialize him around a crowd of individuals, we won't put the vest on him. And that's just to teach the dog, when you're wearing the vest, it's time to go to work. It's time for you to do your job, which is either bite people or find bombs. So those are the two options. So by having the vest on him, and then when we take the vest off, it's okay. Not everyone's a bad guy. Not everyone is a suspect and needs to be bit and taken down. So that's how we socialize them, with the vest. Quantico, we had a whole bunch of explosive devices sent across the National Capital Region. it's open book. It's, you know, open news, so we can talk about it. But we had we had a threat to the installation due to that reason, and BBeowulf was called out there to actually both devices and locate them both in the mail rooms aboard the installation. Mission comes first, and that's the reality of the military. When push comes to shove, it doesn't matter if the president or if Congress or elected officials send us, you know, to Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. We're there to save lives. If in all reality, if I lose my dog in combat, it's better than losing a Marine, a human being. You know what I mean? So, unfortunately, I hate to put it that way, but that's the truth behind it. The dogs are an asset to the military to protect human life. We obviously don't treat him like equipment. Technically, he has an NSN, which makes him equipment. He's a Marine in our eyes, but they consider him equipment. Same thing as a 7-ton. Same thing as a rifle. He has his own serial number tattooed in his ear. So that's how we track the dogs through the system. In all reality, but when push comes shove, we'll sacrifice equipment over human life any day of the week. So he's looking to probably retire. We try and keep him between 8 to 10 years, depending on the dog, depending on what the mission capabilities of the installation are and what the operational tempo is. We try and keep him for 8 to 10 years. When he goes up for retirement, since Officer Caldwell has had him for 2 years, it's a professional courtesy that I'm going to contact him first. I'm going to say, hey man, do you want your dog? And he's absolutely, I can tell you, he's going to say yes. You know, but if he weren't, then we would go down the dog service record book and locate a dog handler who is able to adopt the dog. And then we'll go ahead and transfer that dog out of service to a previous handler.
Hi, my name is Detective Doug Notstein. I work for the City of Bethlehem Police Department, and my K9 partner is Silver. I've been working with Silver since April 1st of 2018, this year, and we've been in service in the Lehigh Valley area since May 1st of 2018. So Silver actually trains every single day of her life, though. But we actually took a 200-hour program up in New Hampshire through the main specialty program. It was actually sponsored by State Farm Insurance Company, and the program was at New Hampshire Fire Training Academy for the entire month of April. And when we returned with, when I returned with Silver on April 28th, we went into service on May 1st. Silver's used on fire scenes. So when there's a fire and the fire is being investigated by either police or fire doing an origin and cause investigation, Silver can come in and aid them. And she can detect accelerants or things that people commonly use to set things on fire. And she can detect over 50 different types of those. I mean, we do have a very short career so far, but Silver's been on about 20 incidents now, and she has actually found on several of them some accelerants and was able to show it. And then there's others where they thought it might have been arson and they used an accelerant, but she actually searched around and showed that there was no accelerant that could be detected there. So Silver detects, when she detects an accelerant, she's a passive dog, so she sits when she finds what she's looking for, and then she'll point with it with her nose, or she'll put her paws on it and she'll show me where it's at. And what that is then I mark it with a marker so the investigator knows where to go and collect it.
My name is Joseph Ilg. I'm from Exeter Township Police Department, and my K9 is Ico. It's not like having a house pet. When I was younger, we had a Shep, and it's a lot different. You have to spend a lot of time. I work 12-hour shifts, so he's with me every shift that I work, and then we go home and spend time together there. You don't just take him home and let him sit. You got to constantly be training and doing things with him to keep him up to par. My wife, she loves animals, so she gives him extra special attention. But we have a little boy, he's 16 months old, so I watch, but he doesn't really pay any attention to my wife or my son. It's mainly I'm his focus. So it's You got to realize he's a work dog. He's not a house pet, but keep that in mind. That's the way I work with him. Like, I know what his potentials are. So around my family, I just make sure that they're safe and he knows that they're part of the pack. When I first got him, back in October, I was training down in North Carolina, and they gave us a 2-day, 3-day break for Thanksgiving. So they said, hey, take your dog home, introduce him to your family. So we were coming home and, oops, we were coming home and I stopped for gas and the windows were down and he was just chilling in the Tahoe, and I was pumping gas. I wasn't even paying attention. And all of a sudden, like, he got really nasty in the car, and I turned around and there was a guy walking up behind me, and he said, excuse me, sir, I'm lost. I need directions. And I said, I'm not even from around here. But at that point, like, I realized, I was like, holy mackerel, like, this guy was coming up behind me and he turned. He got really ugly and he was protecting me. And that was just, it wasn't anything bad, but he saw somebody walking up behind me. I didn't recognize it and he told me. So even on the street now, I've been with him for 8 months. And when we're on patrol, it's amazing. There'll be people walking. I'll be parked somewhere doing paperwork, and there'll be somebody off in the distance, and all of a sudden he gets nasty. And I'll look around to see where he's looking, and I'll actually see what he's barking at. So he picks up a lot of things that I don't. When I got him, he had no training. He didn't know how to sit or down or heel, and you train him in everything that you want him to do. And he had a little bit of detection work. He was imprinted on narcotics, so he had some of that, but he didn't know who I was. So you bond, and then you train him to do the obedience and tracking and everything else. So from what I've learned is I can continue to train him. If you know what you're doing and you're training him, when you have an issue, obviously sometimes you go to a more experienced handler and say, hey, look, here's what my dog's doing. Can you help me out here? And they can sometimes just look at the dog and say, it's you're doing something, but not realizing it. So the training aspect of it, it's a lot. And I do stuff with him on his off days from work. And then even when I'm at work, 12-hour shifts, sometimes I'll hide narcotics and we'll do a little bit of scent work, or I'll have somebody on my squad lay a track and we'll do a track. But then it keeps him up to par, keeps him focused on what he's doing. And one thing I noticed is he always wants to do something. He's very work oriented. He loves going to work and nuts. But as far as dogs go, I mean, I've seen some of the other dogs that we picked from here, class. And his personality and mine, it just goes together. He's really good. I mean, I couldn't be happier.
My name's Lee Walbuck. I'm the retired fire chief of the city of Allentown, and this is my retired Arson K9 judge. Typical retirement age for Arson K9s are anywhere between 9 and 10 years old. The handler and the got to see how the health of the dog is, and also a possible replacement. So we were lucky enough to get a replacement in line, and so Judge could actually retire, and Silver is his replacement. After retiring for adoption, the City Council actually just has an ordinance that they pass that you have to pay $1 to get the dog. It's mostly symbolic. It's not even $1. It's just symbolic. But Judge was kind of unique because he never had any kind of line item in the city of Allentown. Everything he has gotten was through donations, sponsorships, or gifts in kind type thing. That we did a lot of programs. So a lot of the places that we did work for would wanted to give us money, but we just got actually equipment like a tub to wash them off, or different things like a hot pop for the car, that type of thing. He has to go through, it's called imprinting to begin with, to know the accelerant smell. He's certified to find 61 different accelerants. He's not going to, of course, tell you which one it is, but he's certified to find them all. Once he goes through the imprinting part of it, then there's 4 certification tests that you have to take. One's a scent discrimination test. The other is an exterior and interior sniff test, and then they call it a blind test. And that's something that you have to get recertified on every year. Just actually, they're 99.9% all Labrador retrievers for arson work. What we usually do is they'll get a lab that's actually from a working dog litter, and they'll kind of test their ability to continue to work, and because arson dogs are food reward, so they're not toy reward like a lot of police canines. So they have to show that they're always food motivated and they have the energy and drive to keep working. Once they get past those little tests in the beginning, then they see if they have the nose for the imprinting, and they go from there. Well, the bond is awesome. I'll tell you what, he's my partner. I see him way more than anybody I ever see in my entire life, ever since I got him in, late 2010, early 2011. He's with me all the time. Being a food reward dog, he's with me pretty much 24/7. He works on arson cases, but he will go to anything that an investigator thinks that, one, he wants to check for possible accelerants. If there's red flags that pop up for an investigator, like maybe that everything's taken out of the house and there's no electric to the house and it's still burned, and there's no point of origin, or there's a point of origin but there's no point of ignition. So then he might have the accelerant dog come there. Or if there's a arson problem in the area, like they've had a couple spot arsons in a certain neighborhood, they'll call an arson dog right away so we can actually go around the crowd. And that's why another reason why we use Labrador Retrievers, because going around a crowd, if I had a Mallee or a Shepherd, people would kind of maybe step back a little bit. With a lab, they come right up to him and he can actually do his work without them even really knowing. The other part that he does is pretty much the public relations type, that he'll go. We've done over 850 demonstrations, everything from elementary schools to community groups to actually corporate groups that we've actually done work with, and it actually is a good thing, because the best fire is the one that never happened. So if we can be a deterrent and not have a fire happen or potential arson, that's a good thing, because it actually hurts a lot of other people, not just the place that's getting was on fire, so. Oh, the event today is great. This is our second time here. Vicky does a great job with the K9 Cop project and being here. It's nice to show off. I mean, the dogs out here are definite true athletes, and really show what they can do as far as the patrol work. But it's nice that she invited us and actually Silver now to come out here to show that there's another point of law enforcement canines that actually do other type of work that are arson work, or even bomb work, that are single purpose dogs too.